Hey everybody, welcome back to Red Mug Music. I'm glad that you can be with me today. Before we get started, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, stop what you're doing, go ahead and do that. I noticed like 96% of the people that watch this channel aren't subscribed, so do so, and that's how you're going to make sure that anytime I put a new video out, you're going to be the first to find out. So stop what you're doing, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and that'll give you the notification whenever the new video drops, which I try to drop one every Sunday, sometimes a little bit more than that, but I would surely appreciate it. So back to what we're talking about. Now, last week we ended our journey to Sign of the Times, and during this journey we talked about some unreleased projects that Prince had worked on, like Dream Factory, Camille, Crystal Ball, and then we talked about Sign of the Times, and we also included the Black Album only because there was some relationship to Camille, and if you want to know more about that, just click on the link above and you can find out what that relationship is. However, in my curiosity and all of the research that I did during this time, I have very much so enjoyed listening to this music. The Super Deluxe album, which actually, if you look in the description down below, I've got a link to Amazon if you want to order that. It is definitely worth it. It is so much material. It is a very good Sign of the Times quality, remastered, plus all of the other tracks that were included during this time that you can put together and create these albums. And they'll also be linked down below. Camille, Dream Factory, and Crystal Ball. You should do that. It's been so much fun. But there's another project that technically wasn't happening during this time. It was later on in 1998, but it was material, a lot of material that happened during this time and actually before. And the project is called Roadhouse Garden. Now, many of you may have already heard of Roadhouse Garden. It was a project that got started, and what happened is Prince wanted to get the Revolution back together again and release this album. And what they would do is, I wrote it down here, the new record would have things left unfinished when the band broke up in the 80s and several new cuts that they're putting together using parts of many tunes. And Wendy and Lisa would be offered co-production positions on this project as well. And this was announced on the Love for One Another website that Prince had. And, there were different, throughout this time, there were a lot of interviews and just teasers, Prince saying, I'm getting close, I'm just doing some overdubs right now. And, just letting everybody believe that this album is going to be released. Now, during the same time, he was also working on a 1999 project as well, where he was going to digitally remaster the old 1999 song, and he was going to re-release it in 1999. And he was also going to work on a new version of 1999, which he actually did. I've got that copy here somewhere, and release that. But and also there were spies, I guess they call them spies, at Paisley Park that were able to report that he was also working on re-releasing the 1999 album in its entirety. At that time, we know it has since then, but it wasn't by him, it was by the estate. But they saw the album cover and noticed this is something that's going to happen. So he was working on a whole lot. Usually that's how Prince does things. He works on a lot of material and projects at all times. He was just a workaholic. But it was also reported that Prince said that on Roadhouse Garden, that the Revolution would have a front role. This particular album would feature the Revolution. Now, Crystal Ball was a box set, and this was going to be in contrast to Crystal Ball. Crystal Ball, if you've noticed, and I didn't actually pay attention to this, I was just enjoying good music. Crystal Ball has nothing to do with the Revolution. So what was going to happen, Crystal Ball would be tracks that Prince did with other artists or all by himself solo, and Roadhouse Garden was going to be what sounds like a box set with just him and the Revolution. So to be honest, if I were to choose one or the other, I would have rather had Roadhouse Garden with all the Revolution stuff than Crystal Ball, but I'm very glad to have Crystal Ball. So, but these songs were going to be, of course, remastered, digitally enhanced, and it was going to be really, really super good. And some songs that were mentioned at the time were Splash, All My Dreams, In a Dark Room with No Light. But again, like I said, they're all going to be remastered and digitally remixed. So this was going to be fantastic. Now, later, the album was put on the back burner. And when Prince was asked why Roadhouse Garden was halted, he said, "Ask Wendy and Lisa." But when you ask Wendy and Lisa, they're like, "We had nothing to do with him stopping this project. Actually, we had nothing to do with this project whatsoever. We didn't want to be a part of it, and we weren't." And I read somewhere that they weren't going to be paid for it whatsoever, so they pretty much declined it. And they were working on their own material anyway. So it just never happened. Now, there were a bunch of songs that if you do a little bit of research, you'll find were going to be included on this album. But like I said, it was probably going to be a box set, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of Revolution material out there to be listened to. So I would imagine it was going to be quite lengthy. But the only songs that we know of, or there's very high speculation that was going to be on this album, was Roadhouse Garden. That's a song. But if you notice in the Purple Rain Deluxe album, Our Destiny segues into Roadhouse Garden. So I'm assuming that Our Destiny was going to be on there as well. Makes sense because that's the Revolution. And you can get that on the deluxe album for Purple Rain. Then Splash was going to be on there. Now that really, I couldn't find that anywhere except for YouTube. So I extracted that from YouTube and have that one. And then you have In a Large Room with No Light, which you can find that on the Sign of the Times deluxe album. And that's what brought this up. Some of these songs could be found on that album. So I wanted to talk about it. Then we had All My Dreams, Sign of the Times deluxe album. Witness for the Prosecution, Sign of the Times deluxe album. Now, of course, it's going to be the version with the Revolution, of course. Then there was, this is not, I couldn't find this anywhere. Like if you do any kind of quick research, I never saw this particular song, but come to find out, I think it was to be included. And that's a song called Go. Now, again, that one I could not find anywhere except for YouTube, so I found it on there. But Susan Rogers said that she thought that track was going to be slated for the album Roadhouse Garden because she knew it wasn't going to be intended for the Parade album. She knew it wasn't intended for that one, so she just assumed Roadhouse Garden. Then we have from the Purple Rain Deluxe album, Wonderful Ass. And last, Empty Room, which a live version could be found on the Anthology album as well. So, but that is the order that I put it in because there's no known configuration for Roadhouse Garden. But once I put it in the order, and I'll say it again, I started with Our Destiny / Roadhouse Garden. Then I put Splash, then In a Large Room with No Light, All My Dreams, Witness for the Prosecution, Go, Wonderful Ass, and then Empty Room. I found that is a very good listen. Now, if you're anything like me, you hear these songs on the deluxe albums, and of course you enjoy them because it's Prince. But I like them in a particular context. So when I was able to gather these songs and put it in a playlist on my Apple playlist, it was so much more fun to listen to. So I'll post that on my website and down below if you have Apple access. I don't know. Again, there's no known configurations of this. I know there's actually, let me pull it up here. There is a bootleg called Prince Roadhouse Garden. I'm looking at it right here. It starts with Our Destiny, then Roadhouse Garden, Witness for the Prosecution, Wonderful Ass, All My Dreams, In a Large Room with No Light, then Splash, then Empty Room. And then it says Our Destiny / Roadhouse Garden, but it actually came from the birthday party that we all know. And then there's just a bunch of extra tracks that I can't find anywhere that these were considered to be on the album, but I believe somebody's probably just guessing because it's all Revolution stuff and it never got released. So what I'm doing today is I'm starting a conversation because I'm really interested in this project and I would like to know more about it. So let's start talking in the comments down below. If you know anything about this whatsoever, or if you have a copy of the bootleg, let me know. If there are any other songs that could be added to this, or if you know if there's a different like version of the song. Now again, Empty Room, it's a live version that I have on Anthology, but it's such a good version. That's the one I listen to. I found another studio version on YouTube, but it was very short and it just didn't sound as good, so I used that one. So again, let's talk about it. Let me know what you know. Maybe we can figure this out together and I can expand my playlist. So anyway, this was super fun for me. I enjoy talking about Prince. I'm not always going to talk about Prince. I do talk about other bands, so stay tuned. Actually, I've had a request to do a ranking series on the Beatles where I just do one album at a time. I was working on Led Zeppelin and I abandoned that because this Prince album was dropping, and I'd like to get back to that at some point. And then I also had another listener that had a fantastic idea of ranking the Duran Duran videos. So I've been starting work on that. So it's just so much, so many things that I've been able to do and have going forward. But next week is going to be something completely different, but it's just going to be a one-off. But if you have any ideas of what you would like to see, please comment down below. Let me know because I want to do things that you guys are looking for. All right, so that's it for my video. Again, Instagram at Redbug Music, facebook.com/Redbug Music, redbugmusic.com. And also, again, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, share on social media. Just let's get this out there. Let's get some more subscribers so we can grow. And so anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today. It's been fun, and I'll see you again next week.